Okay, I want to demonstrate today how to add fractions with common and uncommon denominators. And when we introduce this, and I want to use Cuisenaire rods for this, and when we introduce it, it's really crucial to let kids explore it a little bit. So if you take centimeter graph paper and you let kids just kind of play with it, I can see that 1 cube is the same as 1 square. So this is 1 square centimeter. So if I want to use them with fractions, I can have the kids place it on here and look and say, okay, so this is my denominator. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my denominator is 6. And if I put this one above it, I can see that it lines up with 2. So my fraction's 2/6. Keep it out. I can now make my fraction 4/6. Or I can take the 6 away and I can add an 8. And now I have 4/8. Okay, and letting kids take time to explore this and see these items for themselves to build that understanding. Then we need to talk about how kids are introduced to fractions. Well, when we teach fractions in the younger grades, we always say we have to have equal parts. So if I have 1/2, and we always say it has to be the same size whole, and they will be asked like this. And they'll be asked to find which one is 1/2. Well, we know when we talk about fractions, it has to be equal pieces. So obviously this is going to be your same equal pieces because this one's a lot smaller than this side. So building off of this, we talk about the equal pieces. And say I want to build 2/6. So we have our kids built. I have 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so my whole, which this is my whole, is 6 pieces. My part shaded is 2 pieces. So this is my part. So we have part over whole. Guys, this is taught in kinder, first, and second grade, part, whole. They use it with teaching addition and subtraction. It helps build to your strip diagrams later on. But so your kids already have the understanding of the part and the whole, and they know that fractions have to be equal pieces. Okay, so when you talk about equal pieces, kids know equal groups, and if I have equal groups, they know that we build multiplication and division with equal groups. So leading into that, this fraction bar right here is actually a division sign, and I can say that out of my 6 wholes, I needed to divide those 2 pieces. So getting them to connect that, because in 5th grade, on some of their order of operations, they will have this division sign there, and a lot of the times the kids don't understand that, you know, that could be for division as well. So all of these things connect to each other, and getting our kids to realize that is really a big part of their number sense. So let's talk about adding with the Cuisenaire rods. So say I want to add 1/5. So there's my 5 pieces, and here's my 1. So I've represented the fraction 1/5, and I want to say 1/5 plus 2/5. Here's my this, and they can do it this way. You can say that's 2/5, or you can say that is 2/5. So you talk about and have the conversations. Well, are my wholes the same? Are my, pieces the same? Yes, they are. So then we can just add them. So my whole is the same. So if I have 2 and 1, my new fraction, once I add it, is 3/5. Okay, now let's add 4/5. Actually gonna turn my paper this way. So I have, there's my 5, there's my 4, so 4/5 plus 3/5. So 4/5 plus 3/5. Well, talk about, are my wholes the same? Yes, they are. We're talking about 5 equal pieces. It's the same whole. So I can just add them. So if I put 4 parts and 3 parts together, I can see that I went over my whole. So that means I have one complete whole, but then I have some extra over here. So you can talk to the kids about what would that mean. And if I have my whites, now I see that it was, the green or the 3 parts went over by 2. So I have 2, and then my whole didn't change, it's still the same. So now I just made a mixed number, 1 2/5, which would be the same as your 7/5. And this is another way to let the kids sit and play with this and discover how to simplify fractions and go from mixed number to improper, improper to mixed. Okay, so let's do one with uncommon denominators. So if I have 1/2 and I want, let's write it up here, and I want to add 2/5, and I need to know my total. Now we have the conversations that my whole is not the same. It's different, and I have to find a way to come up with a common denominator to make my wholes the same. So if I want to compare them. So I have the 5 pieces, the yellow, and how many red 2 pieces does it make to equal them so I can get the same whole? Well, red's more there, so I need to add another 5. Well, now my 5's bigger, so let's add some more 2's. Oh, and right there, now I can see that they're exactly the same. So if I look, I have 2 5's, 2 groups of 5, 5, 10, and then if I count these are 2, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I can see that my common denominator is 10. So I need to make each one of my fractions equivalent with a denominator of 10. Well, how do we do that? So we know we have 10. Okay, because that's what each one of these equaled. Well, if I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red, so here was 5 red, how many pieces are on top? How many parts are we considering? We're considering the white, which equals 1, but we had 5 here, so we have to put 5 in up top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And so now this new fraction here, 1/2 is equivalent to 5/10. And I need to build the other fraction. So again, my denominator is 10. And I only had 2 pieces over here, so I need 2 reds. So if I count, that's 2, 4. So now that's 4/10. So to add, we just take these off the bottom and combine them to the top. and I can see that I don't need my bottom 10 anymore because this does not go over my hole, and all I have to do is add them. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, and 1 is 9. And my hole did not change, so I have 9/10. This is great to let kids try to discover on their own and investigate with just a little bit of guidance or certain questions from you, letting them discover why we take 2 of the 4s, because there was 2 yellows, but then this up here was a red, and how to come up with this. Letting them discover all of that and have those conversations will help their understanding with fractions.